Hey fly tyers, Darren here. Welcome back to another fly tying tutorial. Today we're going to be tying a pink and tan grayling bug. It's a pretty simple, straightforward fly, and specifically for grayling, but I've also been pretty successful fishing panfish like pumpkin seeds and crappie and perch, that sort of thing, with this kind of fly. So it's got a little bit of pink in there, but it's somewhat subdued with the tan body and the golden olive or the golden brown thorax there. So I've got two different versions. I've got one tied on a jig hook, and I've also got one tied on a standard Mustad C49S. So both of these work really well. I find the jig hook works a little bit better in some of the faster rivers, and depending if you tie it with tungsten or brass. So the one we're going to be tying today is with brass beads. So let's have a look at the material list here and get started. Alright, let's get a fresh hook in the vise. I've already put a hot pink bead on this hook, and the hook I'm using is a Partridge Patriot series. This is a barbless SUJ, and the one we're using today is size 12. The bead I have on there is a brass bead, and it is a 3.2 millimeter. So we're going to start off by putting a little bit extra weight on this one, and we're just going to add several wraps of this O2 lead, and typically I'll put about 7 to 10 wraps, and then I'll just push that underneath the bead. And we'll just tuck that in, and then we'll just use our nail to push down any of the sharp ends. So we're going to use a 6/0 uni thread, and this is the pink. I like the uni thread pink. It's kind of a nice subdued pink color. And we're just going to start behind the lead. We're just going to start building a bit of a transition between the lead and the hook shank, just to help taper that. So the first material that we're going to use here is the Congo hair. This is the streamer fibers that come from the Fly Tyers dungeon. You can use something else if you have it like an EP fiber. This is a bit of a hotter pink, but in smaller quantities it seems to lighten up quite a bit. So one of the things I like about flies for grayling is having the pink aspects, but not having them, not everything all pink. So you'll see on this fly will kind of bring down the brightness of the pink with a little bit of tan. So we just tied in that Congo hair, just a small length of that. We'll cut that just about even with the bend of the hook. Next we're going to find some Ultrawire. This is a brassy size. Of course, if you're tying smaller, you want to use a smaller size. And this is a gold colored wire. We'll just tie in a short length along the hook shank. Just want to make sure that that's secured in place with a few wraps. Then we're going to take our thread just a few millimeters behind the bead, and we're going to start putting a little bit of dubbing. So this is a custom blend. I've got a bit of a tan fiber mixed in with some of the gold iris Angelina fiber, which has a little bit of gold and a little bit of UV in there. So if you wanted to make your own, you can just take a little bit of pearl UV ice dubbing and a little bit of the golden olive in there as well, and mix those up. So we're just gonna try and spin a fairly thin noodle onto that thread. It's a little thick there maybe, and we're gonna just try and taper that towards the shoulder of the fly here. If you don't want to do your own dubbing, if you want to use the Senu laser dub, works really well for this also. And we've got a nice taper on this bug. And we just want to make sure we leave room for a thorax. Then we're going to wrap our ribbing forward on here. And then we're going to tie that off on the shoulder. Make sure you get a few wraps on either side of that. And then we're just going to take a second and helicopter that off. Or if you want, you can just cut it off. Sometimes these can be a little bit stubborn. Alright, and the last material on here, we're just going to use some golden brown ice dub. It's one of my favorite colors of ice dubbing, and I use it quite a bit on a lot of my flies. So this golden brown for the ice dub and the bronze olive for the diamond dub are two of my favorite colors of dubbing to use in this sort of type of dubbing. So we'll just dub on a collar. We'll just kind of match the thickness of our tapered abdomen there. And then the last thing we need to do with this fly is just add a couple whip finishes. You just want to make sure you snug that thread under the bead. There you go, that's my pink and tan grayling bug. Hey fly tyers, thanks for stopping by and watching my fly tying video. Make sure you're subscribed and hit that bell icon to get notified on the latest fly patterns, tips, and reviews. If you enjoyed the video, take a second and hit that like button. If you have any questions or comments, you can post them below in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for your support of the channel, and until next time, this is Darren saying, keep a hook in your vise. Cheers.